So I have a quote I want to share with you really quickly before I talk a little bit about my program. Career transitions aren't just about finding your next role. They're about discovering the next best version of you. Tasha and I actually spoke about this yesterday. And this is one of my favorite things about what I do, because a lot of people that I'm working with are either recently laid off or in transition for whatever reason. And immediately the gut reaction is, oh, I'm in ops. I got to go and apply to every ops job. Not necessarily. You have skill sets that are relevant for all kinds of other jobs that there may be more demand for. So I love helping people determine what their next best move is, not necessarily just like, I need a job because I need a job, right? So I'll share about that here in a minute. Before the event, I shared a freebie with you. Did everybody get the freebie that I shared? Okay, good. I just want to make sure it made it through in PDF format. The formatting came through properly, hopefully. So this is very high level how I do what I do with my clients. A lot of professional coaching or career coaching or executive coaching focuses on just one aspect of you as the individual. So like executive leadership coaching, they're focused on your leadership skills. Career coaching, they're focused just on your career. Professional, all those things. I call what I do professional coaching because I look at everything about you to help you position yourself to land that next role, whether you're currently employed and looking for a promotion, you're looking for mobility, whatever that story is for you. But in order to do that, I need to understand who you are, what you're good at, assess everything about you, and then look at the market, right? So once I know everything about you, then we look at, okay, what's the market like? Because very similar to sales, I look at the individual as a product. We're going to market with you as a product, right? And we need to make sure that we are aware of how to position you to go to market, but also how you compare to everybody else in the market as well. So that's step number one, before we even get into resumes, before we get into LinkedIn, because we've got to get that part down perfectly before we transition to start updating resumes on LinkedIn. So that's number one, the assessment phase. The next phase is formulate. We talk about your goals and your plans. This doesn't sound like I need a job tomorrow. This sounds like I want to work at a place that values some of the same things I value. I want to work at a place that's going to pay me a minimum of X amount. I want to work at a place that has at least these benefits and this kind of coverage. So we get super specific to help us really target the right kind of company for you. Because the goal isn't just to land the next job. The goal is to create the next best version of you and get you somewhere where you're really aligned for a longer lasting placement, right? And then we come up with a plan. How are we going to do it? Surprise, I'm not going to tell you mass apply. There are lots of different ways that we do this, and it's not a one size fits all. So it's very customized to the individual, your background, your goals. For early career, it's a little different. For early career, it is kind of like a one size fits all, and I'm able to do it very differently for them. But for manager and up, it's definitely more one-on-one and individualized. And then we go and execute the plan that we talk about, and we work towards your goals and hopefully achieve them. And then after that, this is one that falls off pretty frequently, and it's evaluating. Okay, you land your next role, you got the promotion, you got the new job, whatever that is. When are you going to sit down and evaluate how that went? Are you happy? Are you not happy? When are you going to reevaluate that cycle for yourself? One thing that I'm really big about, that we're launching a system that's going to help with that Career 360 in August, is you owning your career. So it's not employers owning your career, because that's how it is today. Today, employers are the ones that really own when you get promoted, when you get what kind of job, when you get what kind of raise, all those things. But what I try to teach my clients to do is to take ownership of that themselves by continuously evaluating. So what this looks like in practice, I talked just a little bit about what we do in each stage of the process. So I won't go into a lot of detail there. If you're interested, of course, I'll be here for 30 minutes after to answer your questions. But what I want to share here is that your career is your business. So I help you run it like a CEO. So a lot of times, people that find themselves in a position of a layoff or a career transition or something along those lines, I'm not saying always, a lot of times, it is because you weren't really the one in charge of your career, right? You might have been just kind of following the way that things are, going to your performance reviews, doing what they tell you to do and thinking that you're good, when in reality, what were you actually doing to set yourself up for success and make you so valuable to them that you wouldn't be in transition at the moment? I know that's really hard to hear, and I know it sounds harsh, but it's the reality of how this goes, unfortunately. Next, the coaching that I do it hourly. I do it either just toolkits. Nobody has signed up for that, I'll tell you that. Everybody that I've worked with has signed up for the package with me because it gives you 4 hours. And I just want to show you what this looks like, and I'll share a little case study with you. Session 1, we knock out assess. Session 2, we knock out formulate. Session 3, we implement. That last hour, I put on call and on your own. Every client so far has left that last hour for me to be on call. So we break it up, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And usually I don't keep track. But it is really just to be there for you as a lifeline when you're going through interviews, when you're going through offers, to help you negotiate that offer, to help you maximize the total compensation package that you're going after. So that last hour, everybody has kept it for personalized one-on-one time throughout their recruiting process. Here's a case study that I wanted to share with you. I'm not going to read through the whole quote. You guys hopefully can see that and can read it. But what I do want to share with you is some of the stats of the work in 2.5 months. So 3 is the number of professional coaching sessions completed on average, but for this particular case study of an executive in sales and healthcare, he completed 3 coaching sessions with me to get to where he got. And the last hour, he did what I shared with you. I signed him before I officially launched, but he was my very first client. But it took him 3 months from the moment we started working together to the moment he signed an offer. And for an executive, that's not really typical. It's usually about 6 months. So, or more, right? Base salary offered above desired salary. So do you guys remember when I mentioned our assess phase, where I talk about what is your minimum desired salary that you want to have? So we talk about alignment with your next role. He gave me that dollar amount, and then I said, okay, this is your minimum, this is your floor. We're gonna work obviously to get way more than that. So we closed that offer for him at $42,000 above desired salary. He was very happy. And I don't get any of that money. This is just, for him. And then for all of my clients so far, every single one of them, if they make it through phase 2 to 3 with me, every single one has seen 100% increase in LinkedIn traction. So if you're here today and you feel like you're doing all the right things, but you're not getting that traction that you want on LinkedIn, you're not getting the recruiter outreach, or you're not getting the right outreach, this is what I'm talking about, because I help you optimize your LinkedIn profile so that you are able to be found. Through LinkedIn Recruiter, which you guys all use, I'm able to pull up everything that I would want you to be found as and see where you come up and help you improve that. Sometimes you're not even coming up in the first 500 people, and I get you to the top of that. So that's what that stat is about. So I don't want to turn this into a sales thing, so I'm just going to leave this right up here. We have 10 minutes as promised for Q&A and open discussion, but I will leave this up here for you. If you're interested in working with me for professional coaching, I have the QR code up here for you so that if you secure your coaching package with me today, first of all, it gives you a 10% discount for the 4-hour coaching sessions. Instead of $400, it'll come out to $360. And for the first 8 people to sign up, you get a $25 gift card as well, back to school, Old Navy, Gap, whatever, eating out, not cooking at home, or for some of the guys or DIYers in the room, Home Depot. So I'll leave this up here and we'll come back to it in a sec. But I want to ask, how did we do today on our goals? Did you make meaningful connections, at least one? Yes? Okay, if you didn't, come see me. And then, did you learn something new that is beneficial for your career? And if you didn't, please come see me. That is it. We will leave these last 10 minutes. Yeah.
I just want to say something about the coaching piece. You guys are not, your jobs are not to find a job. That is not your job. You want a job. So utilizing a resource to help you find the job is always 100% of the time going to assist you in finding a job. It's just like children when they're learning from a teacher, they don't just learn, they need the assistance to help them move forward. So I think just kind of take that away from it, whether you some today or not, yes, I think you should, but, and I'm not a salesperson for her, but just like talking with each of you guys, it seems like it's become a job for you, and this is not your job, and you don't know how to do it. So having an additional resource to assist you in that job search is going to just take you guys leaps and bounds. I feel that wholeheartedly because I help candidates find jobs, so, and they need me because they don't know how to interview a lot of times, and sometimes you just need somebody else to talk to that just gives you that light bulb moment.
Thank you,
One of the most rewarding parts about being in the executive recruiter space is being a candidate advocate, and that's something we don't talk about ever, really, because we're here to find a job for the company to make money. But the reason we all do this is because of candidates, not because we make money off of you.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why I started my own business, because I was tired of making somebody else rich and just reaching their goals. I wanted to help people, which is why I host this for free. I don't charge anything for these events because I want to help people. And whether somebody signs up today or not, it really doesn't matter in the sense of sales for me. It matters more that you left here today making a connection. You left here today learning something. You'll go talk about that great experience with somebody else, and it all works out in the end. So there's that. Before we break into networking and people free to go, we have time for open discussion and Q&A. And again, ask me anything, any open discussion, comments, or questions. Yes.
I know that you're executive recruiters as well, but if you're applying online, I will come across the salary question.
Yes.
And I'm learning now that more and more companies are not letting me put, so my go-to is to put the range up in the job description, but they want like a number. And I've actually gotten 2 responses back. Everything looks good, but your salary request is too high.
That was in their range.
Yeah. Which I know from being a manager and hiring manager, the range you're not going to get, they really want you in the center. Right? But.
Yeah, I can answer that, but do you guys have anything about that?
I mean, I always, honestly, some of the best candidates I've gotten have responded to that exact request. And we've talked about what compensation looks like, not just from a compensation, like the money you take home, but from a total benefits perspective. And so we're able to have a very holistic conversation about what the range is. I don't overstate. For my job postings, I don't overstate what the compensation is going to be. Because if the job pays, 160 to 170,000 a year with 40% bonus eligibility, like I'm going to say that. I don't want to put that the job pays 200,000, but the base is 150, and that 40% bonus is really dependent upon 15 goals, 6 of which are not in your control and therefore are debatable. So when people say not in our range, I make a point that I would write a job.
But I think the question also is literally I could not move past that to complete an application.
Right, they DQ you. It's called automatic disqualification. So what happens when a recruiter posts a job, again, this is why I advise against online applications all the time, because when a recruiter posts a job, they have the ability to put, let's say, 5 DQ questions, right? Do you have this experience? Have you done this for X amount of years? Disqualify. And they're also called knockout questions. So if you answer one of those questions in a way that disqualifies you based on their parameters, you're right, you won't make it past that point. So it makes it really difficult for you to make it through that process because of the DQ process that the company has. But a quick note on the range, because I think that that's the more important question. Companies now, most states require companies to list salary ranges because they're no longer allowed to ask you, what were you previously making? What are you currently making? All they can legally ask you is, what is your salary requirement? So that's their way of getting to understand, are you in the ballpark of what they're looking for? What you're saying is you put a number that was in their range. What they're not telling you is that the range that they're posting is not accurate. The range that they're posting legally just has to be what they're paying has to be within that range that they post. That is the legal requirement. So it's messed up, but that's how it is. And they can go below, they can go above. It just depends on legally what their comp and benefits team allows for in terms of risk.
So is your recommendation to go what I want, like, or to?
I mean, are you gonna?
Like if I lowball the number,
I would put what you think you probably work.
Yeah.
You said you got shut down mid-application?
Yeah,
No.
DQ'd.
Well, so you can't, I could not.
Mid-range.
Correct.
With what?
Mid-range.
Mid-range.
The company's posted.
No, I understand that. You were in the middle of the application process and you put a number that was in the range.
Correct. So you know, anything online, your doctor's office or whatever, it's stalled, you must complete this field.
To advance.
But you completed the field, you were in the range, and it.
Well, it's, a lot of companies won't, some companies, I should say a lot, will not accept the range. You have to put.
No, but they gave a range.
Yeah, so their range is $1 to $10.
And you put within 1 to 10.
And I put 10, for example.
And it didn't let you go, keep going.
No.
Yeah. So
That seems like a system
it this is what happens in those situations, and this is very like detailed. But let's just say the range is 1 to 10 for the job. What job title, for example?
Probably some kind of business program.
Okay.
Operations.
Business program manager. The salary range for this job within that company is $1 to $10. The target range for that specific headcount that they're looking to hire will be this. So if you're above that, they're not going to waste their time talking to you, because then you're not going to even be interested in the job if you're not willing to take that comp. The only time I would advise you to play with those numbers a little bit is if you are genuinely willing to take that lower comp. Because if you take the call and then you tell them, oh no, I put this, but really that immediately is going to put a red flag on your candidacy, and they're going to be like, oh, that's annoying, and like not want to. Yes, for that job, not that specific headcount. Does that make sense? So they're hiring a program manager. They may have 10 program manager seats in-house. They're looking to fill one of those, okay? That group of 10 program managers have different levels of seniority. So perhaps they're hiring one on the lower end of that seniority. So the target range, even though it's within the range, that target range for that specific job is 5 to 7 or 3 to 5. Yeah.
So do you just put one and then get in there and then negotiate afterwards?
If that is your risk, yeah. If that's what you're comfortable. For you, but it depends. That's why I'm saying it's not a one size fits all. It depends. If your goal is to get in front of a human and talk, sure, lowball it. But if your goal is like, no, I need to make this amount of money and I'm not going to waste my time, then you don't.
So I'm thinking what you previously said, which is, you have a conversation that like, I want 10 and not 1, and then the recruiter's annoyed and they don't go into
It's all in how you say what you want.
Yeah.
You could have went through that whole process and said, hey, so in the job description, it mentioned this, but the more that I talk to you,
Yes.
it seems like this position, I should be offered this.
Correct.
So I am looking for this.
Mm-hmm.
So you are evaluating the position the same way they're evaluating you. It's an interview on both sides.
Right.
So yes, you can put that lower number in there, but once you went through the whole process and now you're at that offer stage, talk to them like, hey, so Sally mentioned that I'm going to actually be doing this right here. So it seems like this is a little bit more than what the job description stated. I think that this is where I'm looking at. They're either going to say yes or no to that, or they're at least going to give you more than what you put in there anyway. So it might land you in the range that you actually already told them in the beginning in the first place.
Right.
Or that's the range that you wanted to get to in the first place.
It's all in how you address that. So I've seen instances where not anybody that I've coached, but from people that tell me this from hiring side, somebody will get to offer stage and then just out of nowhere throw out a random number. They get pissed and they'll just rescind the offer altogether, right? But if you address it the right way and you massage it a little bit, and go about it in the appropriate context for that specific job and that company, you'll end up getting what you want if they really want you. The point is to get them to love you first and give you the offer, and then play that game.
There's always room for negotiation.
Yeah. They're always going to make an offer that they'll go up on. So, that's a really good question, Tasha. Yeah.
There's a book called The Light Switch. It's a good, quick, easy read, but it's all about, that's called The Light Switch. And it's about the art of reading the room. And I say reading the room when it comes to negotiating salary and benefits and stuff like that. So it helps helps you set up how you're going to have these conversations and be more effective with probably aids or.
Yeah. There's lots of books, and we're at time for Q&A, and I know some of you have to go, but there's Getting to Yes. There's a lot of good negotiation books where you can read about it. You know, Art can teach you as well on how to negotiate that. But fun fact, I tripled my income within 3 years. When I was in corporate before I left, all on negotiating offers. So there's always room to negotiate. It's all in the relationship and the conversations that you're having. Okay? All right, Q&A time is done, and we have 30 minutes of whatever you need, networking, more food, more coffee, Q&A with us one-on-one. Thank you so much for coming. I'm very thankful for all of you that spent time with us this morning, and I look forward to getting to know you better.